So in the last classes, we have seen about the experiment design, how to design the experiment, how to do the analysis, and some supports, basic information we have discussed. Now, each research has some uniqueness, unique characteristics, properties, and that require the different type of the treatment. So we can't generalize each and every research in the same manner, but the process will be more or less same if you are going to perform the experimental sort of the research work, right? Tool may be different. You can go for the Taguchi method, you can go for the full factorial, you can go for the partial factorial, you can go for the one factor at a time, whatever that may be. That depends upon the what kind of objective you want to achieve, how much information you want to get, or you want to extract from that research work or that study, right? So that is the one sort of the research generally we perform in the manufacturing area. Another sort of research that is much more related to the some management issues that generally happen with the manufacturing organizations, like productivity management, maintenance of the machinery or some sort of things, right? And quality management. There are so many management issues are there in the industry. And when you are going to deal with that one, no quantitative data is available for that one. Okay. In that terms, we have to go for the some non-qualitative or qualitative data there. And generally, that kind of research is some sort of the based upon the sampling or some sort of the survey to extract the information from the concerned person, expert one, some worker, like that one. So another aspect that focus on the management issues related to the manufacturing. Generally, we go for the sampling, sample design or sampling plans, like that one. And you go for the design of the questionnaire part of the collecting the data from a particular sample. Okay. So questionnaire or interview, or there are so many methods you can use to get the information, desired information, so that you can develop some sort of the framework to measure the productivity, to find out the weakness, to make the improvement, to manage the quality, whatever that may be. Objective may be different. There are so many. So today we are going to discuss that aspect, right? And let us start from the very basic concept of the sampling design. Are you able to see this slide?
Doctor.
Okay. So today we are going to discuss the basics of the sampling design, how to design the sample, what are the different types, criteria, like that. Sampling, you are at the master level, you must be knowing what the meaning of the sampling. Okay. Let's say, if you see from this one, if this is the whole population means all the object of your interest, right, is a whole population, right? And there should be some target population out of that one on which you want to focus. And out of that, you are going to take the some items for the study. That items is known as the samples, right? Selecting few out of the whole. That few is known as the sample. And how that few is going to represent or going to give the information so that that can be generalized for all the population, for the whole universe, depends upon the how you are going to design your sampling, how you are going to perform your Sample design. There may be success, there may be failure. If that sample is not going to be true representation of the population, whatever information you're going to extract out, that is not applicable to that population, right? So we can say that all the items in any field of the inquiry constitute a universe or the population, right? All the items, all the subjects, you can say, will be the member of that universe. So generally we say the universe, or we say the population, like that one, okay? We use that kind of term, okay? For example, let's say in a pond there may be so many types of the fish or etc., and we want to get some information about the, let's say, just what is the percentage of the different type of the fish. Simple one, okay? If you go to measure all these, go to find out how many fish is there, total number of fishes, and then you are going to come with the exact information. That is very time taking, very complex process. That requires a lot of the resources in terms of the time, finance, manpower, etc. But you can have an idea by taking the small sample out of this one, like this, okay, and then study about this one, okay, and make inference. Inference means making some decision or getting some information, okay. Make inference about the population from the sample data. On the base of this, you can say that what kind of population is there, what kind of classification, how many, what is the percentage of the different kind of the fish in this pond, or like that one, okay. So based on the sample, we can have some idea. And there is, sampling is a very basic tool to get the information for applying the different kind of the policy at the various level. Generally, government do the sampling or survey or census, you can say, to design the various social welfare schemes. Like there may be some scheme for the poorest of poor, or like that one, to give the free foods, grains, whatever that may be, to support them for their social security. How the government should know about that? How much allocation of the budget to made for them? What is the percentage of people like that? For that, they can go for some sort of the survey, right? They can go for some sort of the survey, and survey can be of census survey or sample survey, right? Now, what is the difference between these two? Census means you are going to pick each and every item. Like when you're going to have the population, going to do some survey about the population of a particular country, that means you are going to take the record of each and every individual. That means you are going to cover all the people in that particular population, particular country, particular universe. So that is not a sampling. Sampling means taking few out of whole. Here in the census, we go for the whole. Like okay, again and again getting the message. Okay. So census is about getting the whole, taking the responses from the each and every individual in a given population. Okay, or in the particular universe. So census for the population for any country is very much time taking. That requires a lot of the resources, a lot of the time, and that gives the exact information with the full certainty, right? When you're going for some sort of the samples, sample is only the representation, not the exact one. Okay, that represents the particular population, particular universe. And here some probability concept will come, like how reliable that information is, like at the 95% confidence level or 90%, like that. So reliability will be in the question in the case of the sample survey, but in the census, when you are going to focus on each and every individual of the given universe or target population, whatever information coming here, that should be exact one. But getting that kind of information is very tough, and for a researcher like us, having so many limitations, we don't have such kind of infrastructure available to us. Major limitation is of the budget, finances. Other limitation may be the time in which we have to come with some results. So generally, census survey are performed or done by the government agency, like counting of the population of the country, okay, or deciding about the poorest population or classifying the different categories of the population. Government has the huge resources, each government, whether that is the Ethiopia, India, or anyone. They have the very big machineries to work for them. And they can apply that machinery, that infrastructure to get the census done. But generally, researchers don't go for some sort of the census or going to cover the 100% population, 100% items in the given area. Generally, we go for the sample survey, and sampling means taking few out of the whole, and on the basis of that, we are going to make some inference, some information we are going to extract out about the given population or universe, right? So census is a complete enumeration of all the items, right? In the population, the census inquiry. When all items are covered, no element or chance is left, and the highest accuracy obtained. Already I talked about this one. That is the more certain. You can present that information with the great certainty, having the highest accuracy. Chances of errors are very less. Why? Because you are going to cover each and every item to get the information about any parameter, any particular things, whatever that subject of inquiry may be. Okay. Subject of inquiry may be to know the total population of the country, to know the percentage of poor, to know what is the average child per family, or something, anything. Yes. Any survey can be performed, and that is going to help the decision makers of government agency to formulate their policy for the future development, how they are going to help the society, where they have to focus, what is the weakness, where there are so many inquiries or the subject of inquiry may be. Okay, that depends what is the objective of the particular study may be. Okay, further, this kind of survey, census survey, involves a great deal of the time, money, and energy. When you are going to cover each and every item, that requires a lot of the efforts in terms of the infrastructure, like time, money, energy, manpower, whatever that one. So when the field inquiry is large, this method becomes difficult to adopt because of the resources involved. So for the people, they are not from the government or some big organization, very big. Even the biggest organization, private organization, doesn't go for the census. In any country, there is no big organization than the government, right? They have all the resources, all the control over all the thing. So generally, they go for the census. Other people go for the sample survey, not the census survey. Okay. So at the time, this method practically beyond the reach of the ordinary researchers. Yeah, that is not in reach in the any kind of the simple researcher or particular companies. They are doing the R&D or like that one. So government is the only institution which can get the complete enumeration carried out that to the once in a decade or something. And government also doesn't go for the weekly or monthly or yearly. This kind of survey, census survey performed maybe because there is a huge investment in this one once in a 10 years or 20 years like that one. Now coming to the survey, sample survey in which we are more interested in, that is of the more practical implication for the any researcher. So in any field of the study, when you are going to focus on extracting some information from the people, from the organization, or anything, in that case, you must have the consideration of the time and cost. And that lead to the selection of only a few items out of a total item or whole items. And that few item is known as the sample. Okay, this is the whole population, and if you're going to take out only this much item, these will be known as a sample. So I think the concept of the sample will be clear for you. You must understand what is the sample. Sample is the selecting few out of the whole on which or in which you are interested. Your interest may be anything, right? You may be interested that, okay, let's say metal manufacturing industry, total metal manufacturing industry in the Ethiopia. How many are following the Six Sigma quality concept or like that one? And what is the effect of the following implementation of the Six Sigma quality concept, whether their productivity increased, their profit increased, decreased, or what challenges are they are facing? There can be any kind of the research you can take. Okay. So for that, you can't go and cover all the metal manufacturing industry. In that case, you have to define some sample. And if you are going to say representing the whole Ethiopia, that means you have to select the sample from all the areas where the metal manufacturing industry is. If you are going to focus only upon the, let's say, particular area region, each region has a different demographic, different resources, different support system. So you can't generalize only on the basis of the whatever metal manufacturing industry is doing in the Addis Ababa, they are same thing doing in the some remote area. Okay. So sample means taking the few out of the whole or focusing on the sum out of the total is then known as the sample. Okay. The respondent selected should be as representative of the total population as possible in order to produce a miniature cross section. That sample or few you have selected that should present or represent the total population. You don't focus on the particular cluster or the particular group or like that one. Generally, it is said that, let's say, talking at the international level, let's say North America or the European country as the rich country or developed country or like that one. On which basis we say that? There should be some basis to make some statement. Generally, we compare some sort of the per capita income. What is the income per person in that country? Average income. It doesn't mean that in the North America or the European country there are no poor people. There are also the poor peoples. But the average value of the income is much more than the developing or the underdeveloped countries. Okay. How did they get that information? For that information, they have to take care of the what income all the people are making. They have to find the different tools. Like what is the flow of the money going on, circulation of money going on their economy. On the basis of that total money can be divided by the total population, they can get that one. No need to go and ask each and every what is your salary, what is your income. Okay. So that should represent total population. When you are going to select the sample, this is basically about the how to select the sample size or sample target population on which you are going to focus. They should represent the actual scenario of the people, right? Or the total population. The selected respondent constitute what is technically called the sample. The respondent from which you are going to extract the information to know their opinion or whatever that may be. That depends on what information you want to get. For that you are going to ask some questions like, let's say the simple question is that what is the average number of the kids in a family. So you go to some family and ask them what is the number of kids in their family. Some may have 5, some may have 2, some may have 10, some may have 1. And you can come with some average value like, okay, average is 3.4, 4.5, like that one. So this is the mathematical term, 3.4 kids per family. You know that 0.4 kid is not possible. A human being always will be an integer value, right? But that is the average value. We are taking into consideration only the 0.4 fraction, only that is mathematical terms, okay? But for our policy making, we have to keep in mind, we don't ignore that 0.4 or like that one. Because when you're going to multiply the total number of families, that will give another value. So when you are going to take that sample, and selection process is called sampling technique, how we are going to select that sample? How we are going to select your targeted respondent? The method you are going to use, the technique you are going to use, that will be known as the sampling technique. And this kind of the survey conducted is known as the sample survey, right? So for that, to be successful, to extract the right information, to maintain the high accuracy of the information, you are supposed to prepare sample design. You have to plan how to collect the samples, what kind of people should be involved, or people, machine, or process, whatever that may be, or industry. Okay? What should be the size? What should be the sample size? When you are going for the bigger size, that requires a lot of the resources like census. If you are going for a very small size, the accuracy or authenticity or reliability of the data will be in the question. That may not represent the population. So there should be optimum value, and we will see how to find out the optimal sample size. That depends upon the some statistical phenomena like how much confidence level you want, right? And what is the variation for a particular thing present in that particular population, right? So these are the some statistical techniques we can use and find out the what should be the sample size for a particular data collection process or sampling. Okay. So now the steps in the sample design, we have to look upon type of the universe. Universe means the area or the field upon which you are going to focus. What should be the sampling unit? Sampling unit may be one machine, one person, that may be worker or whatever that may be, one industry. If you are going to do that, some sort of the project on a particular sector, you are coming with some information about the particular sector, there may be the one organization, small organization, medium or whatever that may be the a sample unit. Then source list, from where you are going to get these sample units. Then you have to decide the what should be the sample size, means how many item responded you are going to select, on which you are going to focus, what should be the sample size, right? Then what is the parameter of the interest, on which phenomena you are interested. Let's say you want to find out the what is the productivity status in the Ethiopian metal manufacturing or manufacturing industries. How productivity they are. For that, you have to select the some parameters, you have to measure the productivity or get the information about that one. Okay. And you can compare that with some benchmark industries. Benchmarking you can do at the international who is doing the very great in that area. And see what is the gap, where Ethiopian industries are, where the top industry in the world, like that one. Same time, so for that you have to decide about the some parameters, right? Same time you have to concern about the budgetary constraints, limitations, how much budget you have. One thing here you missed, that is the time also. Time is also a constraint. You don't have the whole the life. You have to come within the some time frame to make the decision, make the policies. And finally the sampling procedure, how we are going to perform the sampling, the techniques, right? So these are the different steps in the any sample design or sampling design process. What is the good sampling design or characteristics or properties a sample design should possess, that should have? A sample design must result in the true representation of the sample. That means that will truly represent the population. Right? Let's say if you are going to find out the simple things, average height of the Ethiopian person. In Ethiopia, there may be the different kind of communities, and the average height may vary from the one region to another region. If you are going to take the very small amount of the sample or a small sample from a particular region and saying that okay, this is the average height, that may not be truly representative. Okay, so truly represent, you have to get the people from all the areas, and depending upon the confidence level, you have to define about the what should be the sample size. On basis of that, you can say that okay, there is a 95% probability or confidence that okay, average the height of the people belongs to the this to this range, and average this one. When you are going to do the sampling, mind it, always there is a chance of the sampling errors, because you are not going for the census, you are not going for the 100% measurement. Only on the basis of the few you are making the sum statement about the whole. So there is always chances of the error, sampling error. And that happens, that had to be. In that case, result always possess or consist of the sampling error. But we have to design the sampling in such a way that sampling error should be small. Taking the previous example, average height of the Ethiopian people. If you measure the height of the each and every people of the country, you can get the exact value. But on the some samples, let's say you are going to measure the height of the 5% and representing that okay, this is the average height. That may be not same as the census value. When you are going to measure the each and every person, then coming with the average value. There, that difference is the error. This sampling error can be reduced when you are going to increase the sample size. Not only the 5 people, let's go for the thousands and thousands of people. So that will make your result more stable, more accurate. This error can be reduced. So that is the one method to reducing. So how we are going to design the sample size matters a lot. And also the on how we are going to target your respondent to get the exact information, true information. Right? And finally, that should be viable, feasible in context of funds available, whatever budget you have, and whatever time. Yeah. Derje Faraday, you want to say something, you are drawing some lines. Hello?
Hello, doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, doctor.
You are drawing some lines on this one. You want to highlight something or you want to say something? Derje?
Darache.
Okay. Next, sample design must be systematic in such a way that should be minimum biasness when you are dealing with some sort of opinions or some Answer like this one. Or some sampling when you are not going for the total number of the items, but you are selecting something. So in selection process, we may be biased. We may select something, leave something. That happens. So that kind of biasness should be controlled. You can't get rid of that kind of biasness. This is the human nature, okay? Without knowing, subconsciously, without a deliberate effort, there may be some biasness. So random biasness is tolerable, but systematic biasness due to some belief, something like that one, that is going to affect the facts, that should be avoided.
Harrison.
I think someone trying to draw something or trying to tell something. If you have to tell something, you can type your question in the chat box, okay? I can look upon that one. And if you can remove these lines coming on the screen, that should be better. Okay. The sample history can be applied in general for the universe with a reasonable level of confidence. I said there is a confidence level always associated with the samples. We'll discuss that one in the next class. Now we have the less than the 1 minute. If any question, anything you want to convey or discuss, we can. Yeah, Bijan Teresa.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, ask your question.
Well, doctor, what is the difference between research design and sampling design?
Huh?
What are the difference between research design and sampling design?
Research design is the defining all the steps of your research. Sampling design is only about the target population and how to collect the data. Right?
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.